Hi, Marriott Martinez here, and we are back in QuickBooks Ledger. And now I wanted to focus on a few really cool features inside of QuickBooks Ledger, but this particular feature I'm going to cover is actually inside of all the QuickBooks Online versions, including QuickBooks Ledger, Simple Start, Essentials, Plus, and Advanced. So this is the taxes area of QuickBooks Ledger. And in the taxes area of QuickBooks Ledger, you have these three tabs: year-end filing, income tax, and 1099 filing. If you're in a separate version of QuickBooks Online, you may have different tabs, but you definitely have this taxes area. I like how simple they've kept this taxes area. In the year-end filing, you get one question that says that, am I using an accountant to help me with my bookkeeping and my taxes, or am I doing it myself? I strongly suggest that you always say I'm using an accountant, because then you get this other menu that you cannot change from, which is a bit frustrating. So just say use an accountant, and then it gives you this nice window that gives you just some FAQs that you can pull up. The income tax area is what I want to focus on. In the income tax area, you have some cool features to get you more confident and comfortable around tax-ready books, and if you have checked all those boxes in regards to preparing your books for taxes. You can look at your standing income and deductions. You can review some common expenses for your business. You can also look at some information around the vehicle expenses, but this particular version does not allow you to add trips. So you'll want to be using a separate mileage log, which is a manual mileage log you can create in a spreadsheet or even a mileage app. You also will have information to learn more about the home office deduction. And when you click on these areas here, you'll either have option to learn more and do a calculation, or if it's not available to you, then you'll get a window like this. Again, continue down the taxes area to see all the different information you can learn about in regards to making sure your books are prepared for tax time. Again, clicking on these side buttons will either give you additional information, or it will take you to the areas where you have possibly categorized a transaction using one of these items. Now let's move on to the example of estimated tax payments. I found this was a very cool and simple way for you to track your estimated tax payments, but there is a very important item that you need to note to make sure that it falls under this area. Under your transactions, you'll find your chart of accounts. These are the account types that you will set up inside of your accounting system, your general ledger system, so that way it'll populate the correct reports and it will populate in the right areas of QuickBooks Online or QuickBooks Ledger. In the case of estimated taxes, you'll want to have created an equity account called estimated taxes. So how would you do that? You would click on New. You would go ahead and call it estimated taxes. Then you choose the account type equity, and you would choose the account type estimated taxes. This is very important for it to show up in that area. If you'd like, you can have it fall under another equity account, or it just can be a simple equity line, and you'd click on Save. Once you've done that, then every time you go ahead and do an estimated tax payment transaction, for example, if we look at this transaction here was an estimated payment that was made by an expense. So you went into the expense area and you entered in an estimated tax payment of $1,000 on October 15th. Because it was categorized correctly as an estimated tax payment, that's why it's reflected under taxes, income taxes, and then it's reflected here. If you use a different categorization, it would not be reflected in this area, and that's why I'm specifically sharing you that tip in regards to how best to categorize it. Again, as you start completing your tax-ready books year-round, all of this information will get populated, especially when it comes to your expenses and your income. And then you can track the information and the data coming in. And you can even start looking at a tax estimate of any self-employment tax owed or income taxes owed. In a separate video, I'll start entering financial data into this file so you can start seeing these calculations being made. Lastly, in the taxes area is the 1099 filings. If you have gone into the expenses area and entered in a vendor who is a contractor and identified them as a contractor, then they will eventually fall under the 1099 filings area. How do you make sure they qualify or they have been identified as a vendor that's a contractor? You want to go ahead and open up their vendor file. So for example, John Smith. And then when you open up their profile, make sure you have the check mark that says track payments for 1099. And if you complete that process in this QuickBooks file, then you will see that under the 1099s filing, which is also going to be filed under taxes, 1099 filings. So again, very simple. The taxes area has the year-end filing, which is more informational, income taxes, which is the most important tab in the taxes area, and then 1099 filings if you're using that inside of this file. Hope that was helpful. And again, I think that QuickBooks really did a great job in the taxes area. And it's not only great for the business owner and solopreneur, but of course for the accounting professional serving them. Hope that was helpful.